When you think about the early church, what comes to mind? Maybe small groups huddled in houses, praying in whispers, or facing persecution from Rome. But the story of the first Christians is far deeper, richer, and more surprising than most people realize. Today, we'll uncover 5 things you probably didn't know about the early church, and why they still matter for us today. 1. They met in homes, not cathedrals. The early Christians didn't have church buildings for nearly 300 years. They met in living rooms, courtyards, and even caves. Worship wasn't about architecture, but about authentic community in the presence of God. This reminds us, the church isn't a building. It's the people, filled with the Holy Spirit, living out faith together. 2. Radical generosity shocked the world. In Acts, we read that believers sold their possessions and shared with anyone in need. Roman writers were stunned by this radical love. In a society built on power and wealth, the church stood out by giving freely. What if today's church was known more for generosity than for judgment? That's still the call. 3. Women were crucial leaders. Did you know women were vital to the growth of the early church? Priscilla helped teach Apollos. Phoebe carried Paul's letter to the Romans. And Lydia hosted one of the first congregations in Europe. In a world where women were often sidelined, the gospel gave them a voice and a mission. Their courage still inspires us to use our gifts for Christ today. 4. Their greatest weapon was prayer. The early church didn't rely on armies or political power. Their greatest strength was prayer. They prayed when Peter was imprisoned. They prayed when persecution spread. They prayed for boldness, not safety. And God moved. If we want revival today, maybe we need less strategy and more prayer. 5. They grew in the darkest times. Here's the shocking part. The early church grew fastest during seasons of persecution. Instead of fear, believers radiated hope. Instead of hate, they showed love. Instead of silence, they proclaimed Christ. And people were drawn to a faith worth dying for. Today, when we face challenges, we can remember, the light shines brightest in the dark. These 5 truths show us that the early church wasn't perfect, but it was powerful because it was rooted in Jesus Christ. And here's the challenge for us. Will we live with the same faith, courage, and love today? The world is still watching. The church isn't just history, it's a living story. Will you be part of it? If this inspired you, share it, and let's keep the fire of the early church burning in our generation.